want you to think of a higher balloon you're lying on the ground just before it takes off, right? That's being able to get that balloon in just 1 millimeter off the ground. It's going to take an enormous amount of energy, right? You'll see spending ages burning loads and loads of gas just to put tons and tons of hot air into the balloon because it takes a ridiculous amount of energy just to get that thing even just 1 inch off the ground. So what is really interesting to me is what I was going to say that all that energy to get up in the air and it's floating in the sky. What you noticed? They're no longer burning all of that gas to try to pull up tons of hot air to keep it up. Nope, all the hard work is already being done, and now all it needs to keep it going is just a teeny little top up every so often. And that's right there. And it's just a little bit of energy to keep it going, keep it moving along in the sky. Because all the hard work has been done before. All that groundwork, given it enough energy to keep it going in the sky. I think this is an analogy, is perfect to describe what it takes to any entrepreneurship endeavor or every startup in the business, especially your trading business, to get it off the ground, to get it up and running. It takes a ridiculous amount of focus energy on just that one thing and that thing alone. Then what's the hardest one is hard work has been done and it's in the air. You can't just ignore it and completely leave it alone. You need to keep it attending to it and give it a top up of hot air even so often, but it doesn't require anywhere near as much energy for you to put into it anymore. But the key thing here is that hot air balloon had zero chances, absolutely zero chance of getting off the ground without spending all that time filling it up and energy filling it up with hot air. You need to treat your trading business exactly the same way. Now, as humans, you do tend to kind of overcomplicate everything, right? And I'm not an exception, the contrary. So you get us setting goals kind of the same way as I tend to approach all the endeavors in my life, which is to boil it down to the most simplest and effective parts and then discard the rest. And I've tried so many different ways and methods and strategies and setting goals over the years. And no surprise really that what I found is that the most simple and minimal is generally always the most effective because it has the highest form of adherence. Even Warren Buffett says, even when you're setting out and you're writing all of your goals, you should pick up your top 20 priorities, put them in order of importance, and just cross the bottom 15 and just focus on the top 5. Because those top 5 are really all that matters and are important for you. If you just focus on them, it's going to give you the highest probability of actually achieving it. The rest are just a distraction. Now, don't get me wrong. I do truly believe that mastering your life is to strive to find and maintain balance across the 7 areas of life. But when you start to set hundreds and hundreds of goals, finance is just spreading yourself way too thin. So focus on what you value the most first, and then bring those areas up later on. For instance, wealth without health is obviously useless, yes. But in my opinion, you can boost your wealth first, and then you can afford to apply the healthcare and the personal traders and the chefs and whatever you need. So when you have endless amount of goals and tasks to try to change every day, you get a massive amount of complicated spreadsheet or journal, and you spend all of your time trying to fill it out, keep track of it, rather than actually working on a task at hand. It's just become really boring and tedious. But we want to effectiveness and efficiency. So how do we do that? Well, we first focus on the 3 big goals a year. That's it. 3 big goals that you want to achieve by the end of the year. That's it. Nothing else. You take those 3 annual goals and you split them into quarterly sprints. So just like the roadmap phases on Dev World, previous lesson, essentially you have the 3 big goals to then achieve each quarter, and those bring you closer to your big 3 annual goals, right? So you can then break down those quarters into months, and each month has 3 goals, and then those months into weeks. Each week has 3 goals, and each week's into days, and you guessed it, each day will have 3 high priority actions that you need to execute and tick off your list every single day. So send your mind in the morning and keep it set till you go to bed. And that way you give yourself the highest possible chance to actually achieve those 3 big annual goals. So in a nutshell, this is all I do. First, figure out what you want. So decide what you want to achieve. Then you follow the trajectory where what you want is a possible outcome. That's essentially the 3 goal process that we just described. breaking your 3 annual goals all the way down to 3 daily tasks for the entire year. Then you need to build a system to incrementally improve your ability to actually follow that trajectory, right? Then you do that by simply doing more of what works and less of what doesn't. So you need to be reviewing that on a daily basis to know what's working and what's not. Now, don't stop doing that until it stops working. Just trust yourself. Enjoy the outcomes, rise as a byproduct of your work by following the process. Rinse and repeat that process. Now, placing deadlines on your goals, it's a bit of a tricky subject for me to be personally, but for some people, deadlines will work fantastically well and the pressure will be a great motivator. But for others, it can be a bit more of a disaster. You can set deadlines, you have expectations on, say, when you should be able to be there, or should trading this X amount of capital, or when you should be a funded trader. You can just end up robbing yourself of your own success. So I've laid out this 12-month roadmap to achieve funding or similar goal, whatever it is you want to striving to achieve, which is great. I just think it's a very effective way of approaching things, but it can put a massive amount of pressure, and it's just expectation on yourself, right, to be funded or to achieve whatever your main goal is before those 12 months are up. So otherwise you might be looking at yourself just as a failure. So those expectations of your journey can be difference between becoming successful or not, because it can force you to rush things and you can simply not ready it. And you end up slowly your overall progression with just a lot of unnecessary shit next to it, because you can start skipping steps in the process that you will need to follow first. Now, everyone with their algorithmic is a unique individual, unique upgrading, unique sets and experiences. And some of you never traded before. Some of you might have a bit more experience and have other strategies. Some of other you are really experienced, but they're really let tiny little bit of refinement and tiny little bit of tweaking in your process. So 12-month road mapping just has a rough guideline and structure for you to then take that, mold it into your own and see what it works for you. Some of you could literally be ready to get funding in a month. Some of you might just ready for a few years, but either way, try to force things when you haven't done the necessary work, the necessary groundwork beforehand. Getting all that hot air into the balloon is only just lead to failure expectations and disappointments. So what is the solution to this position problem? Again, just anything is truly affecting your life. It's a very subtle but important difference on how you set your goals. And it's all about focusing on the process instead of focusing on the outcome. So how do you do that? Is you set process-based goals rather than outcome-based goals. So an outcome goal would be to lose weight, and a process goal would be get to the gym 3 times a week, right? So instead of just saying, well, X amount of time, I'm going to be a funded trader with X amount of trading capital. Instead, what you do is I'll just write down a list of all the practical steps that you need to take, right? Those process-based goals. So that's why in the roadmap, the focus is watching the content, doing the practical exercises and tasks, spending months testing and refining, building your confidence before you even think about trading live, let alone trying to apply for a funded account. It's ridiculous. If you follow that path, it's laid out in that roadmap, if you successfully complete all those processes, then it's those processes that what will not guarantee, but it will give you the greatest probability of achieving your desired outcome as a byproduct. It has a side effect of your taking off all of those process-based goals. So even if you don't achieve the outcome goal or whatever timeline you may have set, you're going to be nearer than you ever been. And that, in my opinion, is a great success. Now, visualizing the end result is definitely not the fastest method and certainly not the one with the highest chance of working. That's because it's difficult to match the distance in vibration that exists between you and the desired end of result, right? So what will really accelerate the process, will really get things moving along, is imagining the process of moving towards the desired result. Because when there's a smaller vibrational gap between you and your current objective, it's obviously naturally accomplished much easier, right? With visualization, we give direction to our preferred scenario. It allows us to change the line of life. So visualize the process and not the end result, not the outcome. So if you meditate and you're already practicing, let's say, visualization, this will hopefully make quite a lot of sense to you. But if you don't, this is not into that hippie mood or shit, don't worry, I get it. But all this essentially means when we wake up each day, right, and you're rolling on a bed, you're thinking, right, come on, I need to get funded, I need to get funded, I need to make this happen, I need to profit, I need to quit my job, whatever that desired end outcome is for you. So just focusing on that each day, instead just channel all of your focus into the next process-based goal that you need to achieve, that will move you along to the next step in that pipeline of process-based goals that you need to work your way through to eventually arrive at the big end outcome-based goal. So you want to be waking up and thinking, today, currently on a testing phase in month 4, and I'm building case studies for my trading plan, and I know I need 50 case studies before I move to forward testing. So today I'm going to collect at least 5 case studies, and that's what your mind is focused on. You're essentially visualizing and subconsciously for the day ahead, and then you're achieving those process-based goals, those practical tasks, and that is what is actually getting you closer to the goal, the desired goal, quicker than anything else. So if you ever find yourself struggling some days to take action, and you're suffering from procrastination, you must realize that procrastination is a privilege. Okay? Consider that many do not have the option to procrastinate. You don't worry about procrastination when your life is in danger, right? You just act, just bang. If you don't want to do that, you need a better reason not to. And what would less procrastination mean for your future you, your family, causes you care about? Those questions usually work for me. The trick is understand the long-term consequences of inaction. Make sure you check your diet, healthy and consistent sleep and routine, and make sure you plan out and structure your day in advance. If you want to fix it, measure it. Track your measures in your diet, check your sheep, make sure you're doing what you need to do so you can operate at peak performance. If you give yourself the best possible chance, because avoiding discomfort is just not going to get closer to it at all. But what I will say is, if you do have a few bad days or even a few weeks and life just gets in the way, look, it's okay. You are a human, you're not a robot. Do not beat yourself up because of that. Zero benefits from doing that. Do not discourage yourself with not what you have done. Instead, encourage yourself what you're going to do. So get planning, write down your goals, refocus, get realigned, and start smashing it out again, man. Right, I want to talk very briefly about the importance of social influence on your success or the lack of it. And one thing that is kind of controversial, and I'm sure you will face eventually, is the realization of many people in your inner circle. They actually have a hidden agenda for you to stay put, to stay where you are, not to do much, not to succeed. That definitely not to succeed beyond the level of their success. And many of us start trading and we start businesses and start different lives, start personal development, do these things, and we kind of have this fantasy expectation that our inner circle, our close friends, our brothers and sisters, moms and dads, we think that they're going to support it, right? But then we got hit with a challenge from that, and we become kind of like haters, very negative, right? And we think, what the fuck is going to go on here, motherfucker? You might need to be supportive, man. It can really confusing and frustrating, right? Can go off the rails sometimes. What the fuck is going to run with this relationship, man? So it's important to be really careful with you share your goals with. So many traders quit because they literally just couldn't handle the social rejection. So one thing you want to ask yourself is, if you do really high succeed to a really high degree and you rise to success, you saw it towards success, what do you think that means for them? You think that means for a sibling who maybe grew up in the same house, same environment, exposed to the same opportunities as you, same potential, same genes, but you going in and get successful and they don't? How do you think that goes and makes them feel? So same feel to close friends. Grew up close friends, have the same group of makes you kids, same school, same education, do the same shit, hang around the same people, then succeed and they don't, and that is very, very uncomfortable, right? It's not pleasant. So there you have a couple of options, right? You can either start learning, stop growing, start changing, start building. They can build buildings as tall as yours, or they can become fearful that your building is going to outshine theirs. It's going to cast a shadow onto their present building. And they're going to kick the fucking feet out of you. So you can't go and build it. Why? Well, It's a lot easier to trip someone up and make sure that they don't build a building than it is to come and get your shit together and build your own. So stop asking blind people to prove to your vision. If putting a voice to your high streams can make you feel a little bit comfortable, how do you think it's going to make people around you feel? They're probably going to feel like shit and uncomfortable too, and often a lot more so than you. Because going and tell your 5 closest friends about your biggest ambition and watch how many start squirming very fast, because showing them what you want and what is your desire also makes them acutely aware of their wants and their lack. This is why when you're writing down your goals and you're creating a vision for your future, I think it's really important to be careful who you share. You should share this vision with. And trust me, I get it. I did this. It is completely natural to want to share your enthusiasm with people in your life, especially those who are closest to you. But it's also useful to remember that people often tend to respond by just raining down your parade. When they do this, it's almost usually out of malice. It's their active sort of conscious desire trying to bluntly shoot down your excitement to shit. More often than not, it's just simply a form of self-defense from them. So if you intend of becoming a financial master, don't concern yourself with the problems and the opinions of financial neophytes. It is not your journey. They will rather not hearing the vision that you have because it reminds them of the one that they have lost. Now, I've been there before, especially when I first started my trading journey 15 years ago, and I was so excited. I was like buzzing head first, and I was learning so much new stuff, Al Brooks, and I don't know what more. And starting working on the weekends and doing business in my own development, and people just don't get it. They don't understand it. What are you doing? It's weekend. Let's go out. Stop wasting my time. They don't get it. Not one from kind of regrets in life, but maybe if I could go back, maybe I'd do things slightly differently. Might have kept probably my goals and my vision to myself, or at least a few close friends who maybe kind of share the same values, right? And just look for others like-minded individuals elsewhere to share them with. And that's what algorithmic community is for. You guys are all in this together. You're all in similar journeys with the similar ambitions and goals. So this is the place to share with others if you feel like you want to. But the one thing I want you to realize is that people will quit on you all of the time along your journey. You can't expect them to share or understand your vision. They're not supposed to. It is unique to you. And it's not fair on them for you to expect that of them either. So try not to do that. So make sure that you get up every single day and you do not quit on yourself, because you don't need anyone but yourself to succeed in this. Because when you do it for yourself, there is no timeline. But when you're doing it for others' approval, the timeline is always too close and right in your face, man, right? So patience, that comes from the peace within yourself. And when you play the game for yourself, you enjoy the game itself. When you're playing it to prove to others that you're successful, or just to stick it to them wrong, then you'll become wildly impatient. And that pretty much always leads to poor decision making. So make sure you're playing for you and not for them. Now, typically, humans really simply overestimate what can achieve in a few months, but they tend to also massively underestimate what can achieve in a few years. Now, if you were studying, let's say, to be a brain surgeon, you would have watched a video, some brain surgery to smash roll into mass speed into just a few weeks. You wouldn't just to walk into a hospital and go into the operating room and perform brain surgery to someone, would you? You want to finish reading a book, a PPL course, flying 101, and you wouldn't fly in a jumbo jet right after a few weeks, right? It's going to be fucking insane. So you won't believe to do this successfully without killing someone. So why so many people really think that they can do this shit with trading? It's unbelievable. You really think that you can blast your course in a few days and start consistently making money in a 6 or 7 figure account in, week out? Yes, it is possible. And no, I'm not here to install any limiting beliefs in you whatsoever. Let me get this straight. But what I am here to do is to help you dissolve and crush any trading fantasies that you may have from the very start. And why? Because that analogy to think, plan, and act with a more poised and balanced frame of mind. A poised mind, not a poisoned mind and emotions. So I hope now you have more balanced and realistic approach upon your trading, and you know that the journey is going to be a tough one, but it's going to be a single but rewarding challenge that you have probably ever embarked on, man. So let me ask you this. How badly do you want it? How badly do you want to become consistent, profitable trader? Because one of my favorite quotes is, if you want to take the island, you burn your boats. In 1519, a guy called Hernán Cortés, he led an army of 600 soldiers to Mexico with just one goal alone, to conquer the Aztec Empire. Many had tried before, none had succeeded. Upon arriving in Mexico, Cortés ordered his men to burn all of their boats. This meant there was no meant to retreat. What does that mean? He literally success or death. A or B, no in betweens. Within 2 years, Cortés succeeded in his conquest of the Aztec Empire. So if you have big dreams you want to achieve, burn your boats. You got to make sure that success is the only option. You need to go all in, no plan B. Are you fully prepared to go all in? That small investment of sacrifice of your time and money in yourself now can change the course of your life forever, man. But the question is, how bad do you want to succeed? Because there are only two types of traders to potential to succeed. The first type are those who are consistently profitable and seek a little bit of fine-tuning. And the second type are those traders who are absolutely desperate in their desire for consistency because they're yet to achieve it. Now, everyone in between they don't have a chance. Where the determination lies, the way can be found.